All right, man. Yeah. Well, thanks for hopping on. I'm super excited to kind of pick your brain and see what life has been like for you. The first thing I wanted to talk about, which I think we're going to have a lot in common on, is we're both pretty young guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's crazy seeing you're 18, right? Or 17?
yeah. And you're 21, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
That's yeah. We're killing it.
yeah, a couple years ahead of you, but that just blows my mind. Because the first song I heard of yours was actually on SoundCloud, like a
Was it?
yeah, yeah, Yellow Flowers,
Oh wow.
right?
Okay, yeah. You're
Yeah,
going back a few years. Yeah, that
going far
was.
back. And yeah, I just remember finding it on like a spot, like a SoundCloud like shuffle thing, and I just loved it. And that was the first
Oh,
time I
thank
heard
you.
of Alfie Templeman. But then I think at
That's
the
nuts.
time, like looking at your bio, you were like 15 or like
Yeah.
something
So
super young.
that was a good experience actually making that song. I think it was the first song I made when I was 15. I just turned
Wow,
15. It was like early 2018. And yeah, I wanted to make something that sounded like it was, I don't know why, but I wanted to make something that sounded like it was on tape, even though it wasn't. Because I
sure.
love that kind of like 70s sound. But
Hmm.
like as a 15-year-old, I just couldn't afford it. So that was
Right.
the whole idea with Yellow Flowers. But yeah, it's 3 years old now, which is just absolutely nuts thinking about it.
That is crazy. Yeah, my song "Can I Call You Tonight" is about 3 years old as well,
Yeah.
and it's just like it's just weird. We're at this stage. I'm sure that you relate to this a little bit when someone will like first hear like "Yellow Flowers" for the first time, and then you're like, "That's really awesome," but like that's weird for me because I'm 15 and
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
It's just strange like thing where we're so young. Like I feel like if you were in your mid 20s and you're 30, it's kind of like, oh yeah, I've been an adult. But like
Exactly.
you've
Yeah.
changed a lot. I'm just assuming since you were 15. And so it's
Exactly.
like it's
Yeah.
weird like growing up and making music.
Yeah, I'm sure
It's
you can relate to
strange.
this, but
Yeah.
it's like when you're actually that age, you're changing literally like every month.
Yeah,
Basically, it's like
dude.
in your teens, it's like one of the most progressive areas of your life, and like things are changing so quickly. And I was in school as well, and I'm sure you can relate to that as well because you were in school when you recorded like your first stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just yeah, so much is happening at the same time. It's hard to take it all in, isn't it? But like you're
Yeah.
saying, I guess when you're like in your 20s or whatever, you have more time to actually just focus on the music side of things. But I can hardly remember actually recording half of the stuff. Like I
Yeah.
have to go back to like Logic files and actually be like, oh, so this is how I did it, and like this is what it looks like, because
I
it was
know.
just
And
like
it's
you black out.
yeah, it's weird too cuz in our day and age like everything is documented. Like we've
Mm,
been on social media for as long as we can remember. And that used
yeah.
to not be the case. And so like
Mm.
we know like we're going to cringe at what we look back on. Like in the past, it's like you could be
Exactly.
15 and just be like freely like doing whatever. And then like you
Yeah.
grow up and like nobody knows about it. But it's
Mm.
just crazy that like um we're like self-conscious knowing like I need like that's why I'm always so scared to do like interviews and stuff because I'm like, what if I say something stupid? But then it's like, we should
Oh,
have the freedom to just
that's
like,
right.
be ourselves. But it's weird. It's a weird thing
Exactly.
growing up
Yeah.
in
I mean,
front of people.
it's normal as well, isn't it? Really, to like kind of feel that, and not really want to look back at your own interviews just because it's.
Yeah.
I mean, most people know it isn't cringe, but because you're in your own body, you just think
Yeah.
that, oh God, what have I said? Have I like worded myself wrong? Have I not got out the
Yeah.
right words? But yeah, it's definitely weird. Like, yeah, just documenting it. And I think, to be honest, it's like both of us definitely have balls for just like putting it out there in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, just putting out songs so young. When did you like first putting out like start putting out music? Like when was the first time you really did that?
Probably around 15 as well.
Yeah.
Um, SoundCloud, I was like putting songs out just under my name, like Sloan Struble. And then as I learned how to produce music, I got more into like soundtrack stuff. And so I would kind of make like these like instrumental, cinematic songs.
Oh,
I don't know.
cool.
I guess I was like feeling like I was going to be the next Hans Zimmer or something. And then, yeah, from there, I had a project called Kindred, um, which was like the first time I put a song on Spotify, just through like TuneCore or CD Baby, or I forget what I
Yeah,
used.
yeah.
Just one of those like free things. And that was like, whoa, like my music's on Spotify.
It's
And
so cool,
then,
isn't it?
yeah. And then the next thing was Dayglow,
Yeah,
which the idea started with like wanting to write music for a band to play. I didn't have a
yeah,
band yet because I grew up in a small town in Texas and didn't really have like a scene around me, but I was planning on moving to Austin where I live now. And there's kind of more of like an art scene here. I mean, a lot more than Alito, but um, yeah, I just like wanted to make music that a band could play, but it's still like a solo project because I write and
yeah,
record
yeah.
it all on my own. But live
Exactly.
music, you can't do everything at once. Um, but yeah, a lot of it I've gone back and deleted because I'm just like, ugh.
Oh,
So
don't
I
worry.
mean,
Me too. Me
yeah,
too. That's really cool though. I really love that. Just like, I guess it's the same kind of thing as like obviously like Kevin Parker with Tame Impala, how he wanted
yeah,
the same kind of thing where it was just like
dude.
he wanted to just kind of do everything himself, but disguise it in a way that you could see it as a band at the same time, which is something that
Yeah,
I actually wish I could do. Like, because sometimes I don't like just being out there as Alfie Templeman. Sometimes I just love to do something where like I could just it's also just making something for a band, which I just find really pleasing, like writing all the
yeah,
parts and then seeing people actually play them and you're like, "Hey, I made that." It's just
yeah,
something about that.
yeah. So how do you do it now? Is it like
Just the
what kind
same.
of
Really. I have
steps
a
do you?
band.
Okay, cool.
We just hung out for the first time in like four months. You know,
Oh
playing
wow.
like Rage Against the Machine and stuff. We just
Yeah, that's
got in a room
awesome.
together and just jammed, which is like the coolest thing in the world. But yeah, it's just there's four of us. We just two guitars, bass, and a drummer, and it's just
Cool.
it's good fun. We played a few shows like 2019, 2020, and then obviously Corona. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's great. It's really good. And it's just a different feeling, isn't it? Like going on stage. You can't really
dude.
like explain what it feels like unless you've actually done
Yeah,
it. But
I
it's just
know,
like next
man.
level.
I know. I can't wait. Can't wait for shows to come back.
I love getting nervous as well. Like that
I
whole
know,
like
dude. Yeah.
pre-show anxiety. Like it's actually good if you think
Yeah.
about it. Like you miss it.
Yeah. Yeah. The other night, like nothing was even happening. Like
Mm.
I was just like a normal night, but I just for some reason in my body felt like a pre-show. I was just thinking about shows maybe,
Thinking about
and
it.
then I
That's
just
it.
like thought about what it would feel like, and I just felt again
Yeah. Yeah.
like because this time last year is like when I would have been on tour, so maybe it's some like psychoneurological thing with the
Yeah.
seasons where I
Mm.
was like waiting to go back out. But yeah, dude, that's just like the greatest feeling.
I
But
get the same thing actually. As soon as it hits like spring/summer, it's like, oh, I could be playing a festival right now. Like feeling
yeah,
those things that I felt like last summer, but no, I'm sat around here, which is great.
yeah.
But how was that for you? Just like having more time to make music and stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's really strange to talk about because I know it's been so hard for a lot of people, and it's just really like weird. But being a musician, I was actually listening to a podcast with Kevin Parker, and I forget who he was talking to, but he put it really well, where he was like, "It's just weird to complain about like one thing when the other thing that we do, like we have full access to." Like a lot of
Yeah.
people
Mm.
with like the lockdown, like their whole life is kind of shut down, and
Yeah.
like shows is half of it, and making music's the other half. So like we have a thing that we love to do that we can still do, and
Exactly.
I've gotten
Yeah.
a ton of time to do it. So like it's been really fun. Um, I've gotten to have so much time to reflect on everything going because I've just had all this weird growth happening with Dayglow and everything going on online.
Yeah.
And I think if I would have been touring all year, it would have been really overwhelming.
Oh
And
yeah,
so I'm really
definitely.
glad to have this time to like reflect and um, think about everything going on. But it's been weird. You know, there's no other word. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
can't really
mix of
explain it,
everything.
can you? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely weird for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Like if you were on tour, it'd be so much going on. Like you couldn't really just like take a step back to think about what was going on, which is
Yeah.
kind of the nice thing about just having more time.
Would you say you're kind of like a perfectionist, like working like until something's perfect?
Yeah, I suppose so. But it's like I guess once the songs are out, I no longer see them as perfect.
Yeah.
I guess it's more as like I'm trying to chase for the next thing, almost the next
Yeah.
thing that will replace like the perfection of the last thing that I thought was like spot on.
Sure.
So it's always just trying to outdo what I did before, which I think is why every artist puts out, the next album, whatever, apart from money.
Yeah.
But it's all about trying to like, get it right and stuff, and like
Yeah.
make the best thing you've ever made, and just please the fans, and please
Sure.
yourself most of all. So
Mhm.
that's what I try and do. I guess that's why I do it by myself as well.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way. I mean, that's why I ask, because like
Yeah.
I'm totally a perfectionist. And it's just funny to think about um, like people our age, like really like doing fairly well in their careers and like
Mm.
talking about writer's block, or like we haven't been alive
Yeah.
for like that long, and we're like, I need the
Yeah.
next thing.
We're
And
acting like we're Radiohead already or something,
you
making
know,
Kid
and
A.
it's just funny whenever I feel like I haven't made anything in forever, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm 21. There's time to just like rest a little bit, and I guess
Forever
it's
is
just
literally
like
2 weeks.
I know, and I think maybe that's just like what our culture's like, where we just get stuff all the time. But
Yeah, yeah. And it's like the internet, isn't it? Just everything moves so fast nowadays.
yeah,
Feels like everything is like speeding up. But then you look back in like you look at the '60s and stuff. There's bands like Creedence Clearwater Revival that literally put out 3 albums in a year, and like this
yeah,
King Gizzard literally put out five. And then you're like, okay,
right, true.
do I
They
need to
crank them out.
yeah, do I need to start cranking out stuff, or what do I do? I
Yeah,
either take the like Tool side where I take like 13 years, or I do the King Gizzard where it's like, okay, let's just everything. Here you go.
yeah, yeah. It's hard to know what to do, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. There's just kind of like everybody's just doing their own thing.
yeah, that's it. That's the best thing, really. It's just you choose what's right, really. Which
Yeah,
it's kind of nice. That's the good thing about kind of having a label, because I'm with like an independent kind of label called Chess Club, and
yeah,
they're really chill with like there's no kind of like rush ever. They've never really pressured me
nice.
into like, you know we need an album now, we need to deliver this now. It's kind of
Yeah,
like, I mean, whenever you're ready, we're ready, kind of thing.
yeah. Well, I have another question too. So I was mentioning that I'm from like a smaller town in Texas, um,
Yeah,
and it's called Aledo, Texas. I mean,
yeah.
have you ever been to Texas?
No, I haven't. I've only been to New York and LA.
Okay, nice. Very
Pretty
different than New
basic.
York and LA. I mean, Texas is
Yeah,
like huge, huge.
yeah, yeah.
But like there's some stereotypes that are true, but um, I guess like Fort Worth is it's pretty Texas. Like it used to
Yeah,
be a stockyard, so there's like downtown like looks kind of like a country thing, and people walking around, with cowboy
yeah,
hats and
yeah.
whatever. But I grew up in
Oh wow,
a
amazing.
suburb of that,
Yeah.
called Aledo, Texas. And like Friday Night Lights,
All
it's
right. Yeah, yeah,
like the football like TV show.
yeah.
I've
Of
never
course.
seen it. I
Yeah,
just know what it is. But it's like football, or I guess American football, like craze.
yeah.
Where like everybody in Aledo just like freaking loves football.
No
And we
way.
won state, which is like all of Texas, like 8 years in a row or something. And so it's just like the small Texas town, pretty stereotypical, of
You call
like
it small, but it's probably
Texas.
bigger than this whole country.
Right, right, true. Texas being as big as it is. But anyways, I grew up in this, yeah, like not not in a bad way at all, but like it just wasn't an artistic community. Or like anybody in my high school was like striving towards like making art or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah,
And so what I did is I just kind of like isolated myself in my room and like would go on the internet, and that was kind of like my community. And I look back and I'm really thankful now that like I was kind of just like doing my own thing, because nobody in my life was like telling me what to do. Like there weren't
mm,
other bands I was playing with or
yeah,
like in a scene
yeah,
with. And so you growing up in a small town, I'm just curious kind of what it was like.
yeah.
As you growing
Absolutely.
up.
I mean, I think, to be honest, like the school that I went to and stuff, like there was always like a couple bands, but there wasn't that much.
Mm,
So I guess in a way we were quite limited with what we had and what kind of resources. We literally have like one kind of venue where bands can play, and that's
mm,
about it. Like, and like it's a small county. This is the place that I live in is called Bedfordshire, and
okay.
and it's kind of near London. And yeah, basically, it kind of, I guess the reason why I started putting stuff up in the first place was because there wasn't really that many people to play like in bands with. Like there wasn't
Yeah.
that many people, especially like my age as well. There were a lot older people, but I was too scared of them. They were like,
Yeah.
like pros to me. They were like only a couple years older, but I never really
Mhm.
wanted to approach those kind of people because they probably would have been like, "You're no, you suck." Like, kind
Yeah,
of,
I know exactly what you mean. That
you got
feeling.
what I mean? Like they probably heard my demos on Bandcamp or whatever and thought,
Yeah.
geez, this kid's like needs to like drop his voice before
Yeah.
getting in bands and stuff. So it kind of just left me wanting to just put up stuff by myself and not really tell anyone about it at first. And before I really put up anything as Alfie Templeman, I had this like side project thing called Aerial Days that
Mm.
was like, it was just designed to kind of put up like demos, and so I could like not tell anyone about it and get away with it. And then that kind of like took off somehow. Like I put it on Spotify, like SoundCloud and Spotify, and like the track started getting like millions of plays. And I was like, okay,
Whoa,
like
dude.
people have connected the dots. Like there's
Yeah.
obviously something that's actually kind of decent here. And that's when I decided to just, yeah, like put myself out there as Alfie Templeman. And around the same time, I kind of got like signed with my label. And that's when all of a sudden, like, I just like started hanging out with all these people in school that were like musicians, but they were like the same as me. They didn't really want to tell anyone. Like they were a bit
Yeah.
too shy about it. And there was all this great music. Like people were making demos at home, and it's like literally in the last like 1 or 2 years, like everything's changed. Like people from my school, they'll be posting like, I don't know. I think it's partially due to TikTok in a way. Like
Mhm.
people are so much more comfortable with being themselves nowadays and just like being honest about it. And
Yeah.
just social media seems to like change everything. But um, yeah, it's so weird just seeing like so many people that I thought would have probably like despised my music and wouldn't want to hang out with me, like are actually like
Yeah.
really nice people that are in the same kind of position. But it's
Mhm.
just so weird because we're all like, we're mega kind of posh around here, and you wouldn't expect anyone to really make like music, but they do.
Yeah.
So growing up, it was kind of like, I guess you never really knew what people would be like around here because it's so like in a way like uncommercial in terms of like, you know, it's not like London or anything like where,
Mm.
you know, London and Manchester, it's great for music, like people are always making music, there's tons of venues and stuff, but here it's like literally one, and you just don't know what like people's interests are really. Nobody really
Yeah.
like asks you what you're into.
Mhm.
So it was really nice shock actually, just eventually like, you know. And I guess the people that are in my band, that's the reason that they're in my band is because I found out that they have a love for music as well, so it all works out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's cool.
it's great, it's really cool.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's funny to think like when you're in like a one stage community where everybody kind of revolves around one venue, like
Mm,
the like upper hand or like the people who dominate are literally just the people that are older, you know, like
yeah,
in our
yeah,
age, like no matter what the music sounds like. And it's
that's
funny because I like still feel that way. Like
mm,
with like local Ostomans, I'm like nervous to like did they think I'm like not cool or something? You know, it's like I
exactly.
don't
You
know.
can't
And
help but
not
think
not
it.
saying that, you know, I'm like some like big like guy or something, but you think like as you like grow, you'd be like, yeah, I feel confident. But I'm always feeling like, oh, like I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
that's
you just never
maybe
know.
just that's just like a thing all artists experience maybe, but
I think,
uh,
yeah, I think no matter what age you are, you always think there's someone that's like bigger and better and above you, if even if
mhm.
they're just a bit older than you. Like,
Yeah. There's like Alfie Templeman and then there's like Alfie Templeman the
yeah,
artist. Yeah.
exactly. You're
Yeah.
two separate entities,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you get this, but I find that applies um like even more when you're on stage.
Mhm.
It's like you're actually stepping into that other like person,
Yeah.
that like person that people see you as,
Yeah.
and like, you forget that you're you for like an hour or two, which
Mhm.
is just,
It's cool, but it's scary. Cause
yeah,
then, cause
really
then
cool.
when you're on
Really cool.
tour, it's kind of like for a while, you're like not yourself. So if you're not around
Mm.
like your friends and community who really know you, I feel like that could be a dangerous thing where it's
Yeah, you kind of step
I
out of
don't
your
know.
body for a few weeks, don't you? But there's nothing better than kind of coming back home and just seeing the people
Yeah.
again, and they kind of remind you that you're just like this goofball that, like, you know, people at home love you for it and stuff.
Hmm.
And that's why I think, you know, people always get homesick because these are the people that you've been with your whole life, and they're there for you not because of the other you, but the you that you have been since you were born, the you that's progressed and grown up in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's awesome that you have people in your life like that. I mean, I do as well, and it's just something I'm super thankful for.
Yeah,
Um, you,
100%.
you seem, I mean, I don't know you personally. We've gotten to talk for the past, 30 minutes or something, and I would say you're pretty friendly.
Thank
You're
you.
like a generally
You too.
optimistic person. Um, do you struggle? Because I find myself doing this all the time. Where like we've kind of set the stage for our like air quote like artist personas to be like really optimistic and like held together,
Mm, yeah.
and in a really good way. Like our fans kind of keep us like accountable in that way. But do you ever struggle feeling like does it exhaust you? Because sometimes I get kind of exhausted, like where it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like it's like that whole kind of like it's not like I'm faking it, but it's sometimes
right.
like you just have to like go the extra mile to
Yeah,
like
sure. Yeah, I mean
it's kind of hard to explain, isn't it? Like
yeah. I mean, as far as I can tell from like a Zoom, like you're being very genuine and authentic. And it's like it's
yeah,
this weird thing where like we're talking about like there's a artist persona, then there's like your
yeah,
personal self, and like it's just a weird disconnect where sometimes I find myself because like something people associate my music with like pretty much all the time is optimism. And like in a
mm,
year like
me
this
too.
year, people are like like all right, Sloan, now it's like tell us how to make the year perfect. And I'm like, I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I
you
don't know.
don't know any
It's
more than other people do. It's just
yeah,
people use your songs as a way of coping.
yeah.
But
Because we're also so young. We're just
yeah,
growing up. And it's
exactly.
like
And that's the
it's
thing. That's the
weird,
thing.
man.
Like because we started young, we've almost like part of our other like selves have like shifted into us.
Yeah.
And do you get what I mean? Like now, because we've become kind of successful in a way at a young age, it's like it almost like goes into like you as a human. It's something that will stick with you in a way, like
Yeah.
as you like move into the future. And it's
Hmm.
like it does sound rather scary, but in a way, it's nice. It's cool because
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that that's a thing rather than just like being a miserable git all the time.
Sure, man. Yeah. It's like, yeah. It's just something I ponder about. I'm just wondering, because I'm not
Yeah,
like next album is gonna be like my like Rage Against the Machine album or something like you're saying, just like this is gonna be my next one. Like, don't call me nice anymore. Like I
yeah,
just want to be
yeah.
myself. But I
That's
think,
it. Yeah,
yeah, it's just
it's
it's interesting
it's about.
keeping yourself being the artist
I
self.
think it's about getting a mix, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you want to kind of show people that you're that kind of kind, caring person that you can be around people that you know very well, but at the same time you're only a human. And the earlier
Mhm.
that you show that, the easier it is to kind of keep it going. The further you go into your career,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. And
it's a
it's
weird
like
one, isn't it?
one of my biggest fears is like if there's one comment where it's like he's faking it, and then I'll like go through the extremes of like no I'm not, like
Yeah,
here's all the ways
yeah,
that I'm actually, it's just
yeah.
one of those things like I just so badly want to be like genuine, but
It's hard to.
it's
You don't really
like
know how to, do
you're
you?
being an artist, and so
It's
it's
one of
this
those
weird
things where
thing.
you look for the proof and your pockets are empty, kind of thing. It's like I don't know
Yeah,
really how to show you any more than
yeah,
you know how to show me that you're a genuine person.
yeah, it's
But
crazy.
damn, this is getting
Very
like
existential. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
just curious because it's something I think about, man. It's like because
we're
I
we're
want,
we're philosophers.
yeah, yeah.
No, I
Um,
100% agree though.
yeah, it's just this interesting balance.
How was high school for you?
High school was weird. High school was really strange. I actually went to a private school that called it upper school. So, um,
Oh,
yeah, very,
fancy.
very high class there. But yeah, dude, it was just kind of like what we were talking about earlier, where you just change so much. And I was
Mm,
from a smaller town, so my interests were a little bit different than anybody else's. And it definitely wasn't a situation where I was like bullied or something, but I felt really isolated.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I didn't really have much. Like I'm a pretty independent person. Like I didn't feel like I had to cave in to doing what other people were doing.
Mm.
So I just kind of spent most of my time at home, like working on music and just figuring out
Yeah,
how to like work Logic,
that's
instead of
it.
going to
Logic all the way.
parties or anything. And yeah, I
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
know.
mate,
I just like,
100%.
um, yeah,
That's I'm exactly the same. That's exactly what I did. Just come home from school and like, just. I mean, I started with GarageBand and then went on to
yeah,
Logic. But yeah,
same,
literally, that's the
man.
way.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
lost brothers, Alfie. This is cool.
we literally are.
Um,
It's crazy.
yeah, but just just loved um the internet, and I
It's
loved
a wild
like,
place.
yeah, just like learning about music. And
Yeah.
my uncle he's like a pretty artistic person. He's like a puppeteer. He like does puppet stuff,
Oh,
which is really cool. But he gave me this advice when I was in high school that just like blew my mind. And he said like the way to know that you're like passionate about something, because a lot of people like feel like they're passionate about something and then years later they realize like, oh, I was just kind of doing that because other people were. He was what he said was like, if nobody told you to do it and it's all you think about, that's what you love to do, And so like for me,
that's
like
it. Yeah.
nobody like came and told me like, hey, you should like really probably be into learning how to like compress vocals or something. And like
Yeah. Yeah.
uh or there was no one else in my high school that I like looked up to that was doing that. And so
No,
I just realized like that's kind of like
you
what
just
it
feel a
means to be
connection to
passionate
it,
about
don't
something.
you?
Yeah.
You just end up
Yeah.
doing it. It's like
Yeah.
that's what I have. I mean, just gelling a song together and feeling that even putting compression on vocals is just like fun, just as
Yeah.
a nice thing. Like it just like it feels complete. It like feels like I don't
Mm.
know. You get satisfaction from just like putting presets on a song and stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
But that's so true. I think it's one of those things that if your heart's 100% in it and it's if it's all you think about and all you like research and even like I was listening to music, and even when I was listening to music, I was like, how do they do this? How do they like put this together? And
Yeah.
then I'd like go online and like look up my idols all day, and then just
Mm.
try and make music myself. And like, I don't think I'd ever actually came out of that subconscious moment of thinking, why am I doing this? It was always just like, I'm just having fun. Like
Yeah.
the
This is
day,
what I
like the
do.
days went by, and now I'm here. Like it's another day of just talking about music and enjoying it.
Yeah. That's cool. That's I really relate to that. Um,
Yeah. What kind of music are you into? Like outside of
yeah.
indie?
Well, that's another interesting thing where like I always struggle answering that because it changes so much
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
life, but also as I grow up.
Mm.
Um, but right now, I'm mostly listening to a lot of like yacht rock,
Oh,
just like 70s,
oh my
80s
god.
pop. It's like
Like
James
Boz Scaggs,
Taylor.
Steely Dan.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
kind
Steely Dan's awesome. Love Michael
yeah.
McDonald and
Oh yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
I really, really admire this one guy that kind of influences all my stuff. His name's Todd Rundgren,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah,
let's go. I love Todd
he's just
Rundgren.
he's just the best, isn't he? But there's this one album that I grew up with by him called Something Anything. That's just
Mm,
like he did like the whole thing by himself, which I love. I just love the individualist kind of approach to things, like Paul McCartney,
mm,
Prince, all that kind of stuff, where they just
yeah.
got in a room and they were like, okay, I'm just going to make some music and see what
Hmm.
happens. Like this is a new leaf from the book, like a new chapter for me. Let's just see where this goes.
Yeah.
And he was always just like a step ahead of everything, and it shows it in this album. Like every song's different. That's kind of what I want to do. Just make every song a little bit different from the last, like a different sound. But yeah, he's just an absolute whiz. He's
Hmm.
actually a genius, and I never use
Hmm.
that lightly, but he really is a genius. But
Yeah.
him, Frank Zappa as well. Like I love the Zappa. He's just another genius, and
Hmm.
just a bunch of like 60s psychedelic rock as well, like with the whole like stereo delay, which I know you're into because you
Yeah.
use stereo delay a lot, which I
Yeah.
love. You use it
Yeah,
so well as
man.
well.
Thank
It's
you.
brilliant.
I love when things echo, making it sound like you're in a
Yeah.
cave. Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Um, well, that's interesting that like you quote so many like older bands.
Mm.
Because I'm the same way, and I think music is much more than like audio. You know what I mean?
Mm.
This is going to sound really deep, but like people, when you listen to this kind of music, you like dress this kind of way, and music is very cultural. You know, like
Yeah.
artists
Yeah.
push forward in culture, and I'm curious, like if that plays into any way that like you view being an artist, that all of these bands and artists that you love are from a much different era. Like if that plays into like how you like, I don't know, like live out your life or something. Cause like when I listen to 70s and 80s pop, there's so much more than the sound. It almost feels like it was just like a different era. Like it was a different
Yeah.
time to be a person. And in our world, there's so much overstimulation and all this like noise. And I think that's a reason why I love this older music and why people watch like older shows is
That's
like
it. Yeah.
we're like reaching back to like a time where there's less noise.
That 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the reasons why I try like not to go on my phone as much. It's one of the reasons why I like grown out my hair in the past. Like even just like
Yeah.
go like just chilling in like in fields and like listening to old music and stuff. It feels like it represents that kind of feeling of being like simpler times where people used to
Yeah.
just like hang out and like just do simple stuff like climb trees and like just embrace
Yeah.
life a bit more like than like what we do now. I think people take everything so much for granted, and that's one of the things that lockdown showed me. Like everything around me was like a lot more beautiful because I hadn't really paid attention to it before,
Sure.
and
Wow.
it made me realize like this is how people used to appreciate things. Like they literally less is more in a way. So
Yeah.
yeah, listening to all that music, it definitely does influence me, and I mean, I've started kind of like taking photos on film, which sounds basic because everyone does
Yeah.
it now. But I think people
Sure.
sometimes do it for different reasons than I necessarily do, which
Yeah.
that sounds really like dumb. But like, I mean, I respect like why other people take photos with film because it's
Mhm.
cool. But
Yeah.
it's just like I just like the idea of it looking like it's actually like from a different time period, and
Yeah.
like my life revolves more around that time period. And it's oh god, I keep thinking of like Filthy Frank now, being like I was
Yeah.
born in the wrong generation. But
Yeah.
no, it's just I really dig that kind of time where everyone was a bit more like just free thinking,
Yeah.
and they weren't so much absorbed into like something that's literally just a screen.
Yeah, I've vowed like when I have a kid, I'm just gonna buy one of those big VHS cameras and just like
Yes.
they have to have it. You know, I'm
Ah,
not
the
gonna have
best.
like iPhone footage of my baby. They have to have it
It's
on
just not the same.
VHS. It's not
Yeah,
the same.
exactly.
And
It's
so like that's what I
yeah.
love about film cameras is like you kind of have to print it out because that's what I always worry about. It's just like although we have more stuff, we just forget about it. It's like
Yeah.
why do you have stuff if you don't think about it? You know?
Well, that's the thing, and it's like that's the thing I don't really like about like your iPhone and having like, access to a camera. The more like the easier it is to take a picture, the less each one means to me. Like, so say if
Yeah.
you have a film camera, you like appreciate each photo for what it is and what memory it is. Like, you only take
Yeah.
like one photo per like. Do you get what I mean? Like
Mhm.
you take like one photo per like memory rather than like waste another shot trying to get the same thing. But with a phone, it's
Yeah.
like just a bunch of pictures, and
Every
you
angle.
attribute. Yeah, exactly, and it's less of like a memory and more of just like here's a bunch of photos from that day
Yeah.
that happened.
So true.
It feels more special. Like it feels more special, like having a bit of obscurity around your life and not
Mhm.
quite being. You have to recall it from your own memory rather than having to revert
Yeah.
to like your phone. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Man, yeah,
Maybe I
that
sound old fashioned.
no, I'm the same way, man. That's encouraging to hear you say that.
Mm,
It always excites me when, you know, people our age are having conversations like this and kind of like,
yeah, me
you know,
too.
in dude, like friggin' iPhones are awesome.
Oh
Like
yeah.
having this
Oh yeah.
AirPod, you know, I feel like it's cool and like I couldn't get anywhere without my maps. I'm like,
That's
we
it.
definitely
Yeah.
need these devices, but it's cool when we talk about it and like we realize like what we are as people, and that's the most
Mm,
important thing. And this is just
exactly.
stuff. It's just stuff.
You, it's about the middle ground, isn't it? Of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
appreciating like this new technology, but at the same time,
Yeah.
most of all, just like living your life like through your own eyes rather than
Hmm.
through a screen,
Yeah.
and just
But
seeing everything
yeah,
yourself.
then again, here we are on Zoom, just like
Yeah.
it's a paradox. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I mean, it is, yeah, a little bit hypocritical for me to say that, but at the same time,
Mm.
I'm sure we'd do it in person if we could.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Definitely. Hopefully soon.
yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah. Yeah, man. If you're ever in Texas, ever in Austin, want
Oh,
somebody to
I'd
hang
love
out, get
to.
some tacos. Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
awesome.
sounds great. That's perfect. I had
Yeah.
Chipotle once. That was cool.
Wow, that's good. Do you have anything
Yeah.
like that, like where you're from?
No, but we got Taco Bell now apparently,
Oh
which is cool.
wow.
But
I've actually had Taco Bell in where was I? Southampton.
no way.
Yeah.
Southampton. I
Yeah.
like Southampton. That's really posh.
When I was in the UK, there was like what are they called? Um
Kebabs.
Kebabs, yeah.
I
They're
knew you were gonna go
everywhere.
there.
Like
I knew you were
kebab
gonna go there.
shops or something,
Yeah,
like everywhere.
that's a bit of dirt. That right there
Yeah.
is the definition of bit of dirt. After
Yeah.
you've gone to the pub, you go for a kebab. That's just the way it is.
Sure. Yeah, I remember that. This has been really awesome talking to you.
Mate, it's been
Getting to
brilliant. Yeah.
pick your brain and super fun. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for
This is
having me, man.
my first conversation with anyone doing this on Zoom.
Well, it's
But
a pleasure to be the first.
yeah, but before like having this talk, I was just kind of writing down these things I wanted to say, and I tried to come up with a big question. And I was thinking, like, what's a big question that I want to ask everyone and kind of see like their final viewpoint on this. And what I came up with was, drumroll, I wanted to ask you, Alfie, what do you think it means to be an artist? And what do you think our responsibility as being one is? So like,
Oh,
kind of like
that's
what we were
such a
talking
good
about
question.
earlier with the separation between being yourself as and an artist. Like, what does
I
that mean?
think to be an artist is to have the ability to express yourself in a way that you might not be able to just through speech. Through I guess in a way it's what we're naturally inclined to revert to, really, as people that love music. Like we said, like we subconsciously decided one day that we wanted to make music, and it's what our hearts, went to. And
Mm,
to be an artist, I think it's a sense of fulfillment. It's something that that just makes your life a little bit more bearable. It pushes you through it. It has different aspects to it, like touring, like just making music at your home, just making music with other people. There's lots of like flavors and layers to it, and every day we discover new things. So I think being an artist is being someone that doesn't really know where they're going, but they know right now it's fun, and like at the moment, like things are cool, things are enjoyable, and you're having a ride. And the fact that people listen to you and try to understand you and make something out of your own emotions, it's like, I guess what it means to be an artist is that you you kind of like connect with people in a way. You show yourself, and people make out what you are. So it's
yeah,
it's just about like spreading your own human emotions in songs with like little bits of glitter.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
yeah, man. Well, thanks. I know that's a big question, but
Oh, it's great. I, I
yeah.
I never really know it's such a big question, but it's such a good question.
Mhm.
It's so hard to kind of just like, when it's easier to think of something than to say it.
Mhm.
But
Sure.
it's, yeah, that's
Because our
such.
minds as artists, we go like when we feel that, we'll like write about it.
Yeah, what does it mean
But
to be an
some,
artist? Wow, ciao
yeah,
ciao.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I hope you have a good night, man, and yeah, thanks for chatting.
Cheers, thank you, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
Cheers. See you later.
Bye.